Rajiv from Fincare Small Finance Bank. Welcome to Banking Frontiers. Congratulations to you and your team for winning the Excellent Model Bank Award. I think this was for an LAP product. Can you share some details? What was special about the product and what did the bank achieve out of it?
Sure. So the bank obviously is a very digital bank, and when we talk of digital, as most banks are, they put a lot of digital technology inside the bank. But because we are a financial inclusion focused bank, which basically
Mhm.
means that we deal with large number of customers and we do smaller transactions per customer. So the
Correct.
moment you go into a model where you are small transactions but millions of transactions, kind of a framework, what we need to do is we need to bring digital solutions to the customer, which actually facilitate the process of working with them. So the
Mhm.
specific award that we got was for a product what we call, the Lab Delight product, and
Okay.
where we have designed a tool. It's a fully integrated tool which onboards our loan against property customers in thousands every month, and
Mhm.
we sort of do their onboarding with eKYC, which is Aadhaar based. Then we do the credit bureau checks. Then we do the full underwriting on the tab, and pretty much it's a half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour process, and we do it
Mhm.
for multiple applicants in the same loan. We do it for their residential properties. We do the necessary work. We do for their office, for their businesses, and then we bring this whole comprehensive thing together and pretty much approve the customers in an hour, 2 hours, which is a fairly paperless process because it's all happening by algorithms and by tools. So,
Okay.
so when we sort of recommended this for an award last year, and given that it impacts large number of borrowers and it's fully digitized, it's fully paperless. I guess in a premium set of proposals that they would have got,
Mhm.
we got the award for this application.
So did you have to do a lot of software development in-house or you could take some ready package and tweak it to your needs?
Lot of these applications now we have built the competency to actually build inside, because
Okay.
fundamentally these applications need a good digital design softwares, tools, which we obviously sort of subscribe to. But having
Okay.
done that, then after that there are only two more elements after that. One is the whole product design.
Mhm.
How you think about the product, how do you sort of think of the logic of it, and then obviously a
Right.
coding element.
Correct.
In this particular project, even the coding element was done in-house. But sometimes for some of our other products, we can do product design inside and coding outside, but done on our thinking. But in for this project, it was done fully in-house.
So Salon guys think that's a great product. What do your customers say?
The customers again, as we have seen in banking, the last 3 years when you've done a lot of digital tools, what we now realize is the customers pretty much want instantaneous solutions and as paperless a solution as they can be. So when you
Mhm.
look at banking in the earlier past, uh, you could see that a lot of papers need to be given, a lot of forms need to be filled, and almost all the things, be it an account opening process or be it a lending product, they required a few days of processing before the customer could actually consume the product.
Mhm.
Now, what we are seeing the change, and the change which customers are liking, is the fact that people can now they want instantaneous solutions. That can you give me a product, a service which is near instantaneous. And the second thing they love is, can you ask me to print less papers, give you less photocopies, less or self attested documents. So when
Okay.
customers experience near instantaneous solutions and paperless solutions, I think it causes instantaneous delight.
And how did you manage the part where you need to get all the legal work done? Because property documents and mortgage documents and those kind of things, are they also done digitally? And does this work all over India or is it
So,
different from state to state?
Manoj, so you have said the right thing. So this whole product was designed in an automated manner for a decisioning part of it. So where we decision the customer to
Okay.
all the maker and checker processes, but the collateral process is still done the traditional way, because we have to take a copy of the document and we give it to the lawyers and valuers.
Mhm.
So the first position is that we We underwrite automatically, and it's done pan India. Once it works everywhere. It works
Okay.
on company assisted, company given tablets, a 7-inch tablet which is iris enabled. So we don't even use the fingerprint
Okay.
biometric devices. The tablet has an inbuilt capability where you just point it to the eye. It reads the retina of the eye and gets it Aadhaar verified. So even given the
Okay.
COVID context in today's time, it's even better that we are not taking our fingers. So we are on iris enabled tabs right from day one. It's only one tab. You don't have to have any accessory beyond that. And you pretty much do
Okay.
it. So they are automated till the underwriting. As you rightly pointed out, clearly now we're in the phase of thinking where we can bring more digitization to the
Okay.
collateral part of it also. And pretty much, in my view, we'll complete the journey in another 3 to 6 months' time.
So how much time has it saved the customer? From how many days to 1 hour?
So in the traditional days, a decisioning of a loan earlier could take, for what you call a soft decisioning, could easily take about 5 to 6 days to 7 days, depending upon various factors. And you will still go iteratively with the customer, and you say, you give me this, give me more information, then you'll
Yes.
scan it and do a lot of things. Now what you're seeing is certain elements of the product we are able to give a decision in 2 hours, and where the customers' records are not, are not enough on older credit histories and others. They're reading
Hmm.
additional documents. We can take a couple of days for the process to
Okay.
be done a lot more carefully, so that the credit underwriting doesn't go wrong. Because see, you can accelerate the speed, but what you don't want to do is bad decisioning. So where
Exactly.
information on the credit bureaus and other databases is good, it is a 2 hour process where the information is, it's a new to bank customer, as we call it. The customer has not taken a loan from anybody and there's not enough credit history built in. Then we say, look, we'll follow the digital process. We'll not take papers, but we'll have a maker and checker in the process so that we can underwrite it with a little more subjective information that exists on the table.
Yes.
And that can take a couple of days.
Okay. Okay. That's still a good improvement actually compared to a week or so in the earlier days. Cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, since you talked about digital transformation, could you describe briefly? So, digital transformation happens in two places, in the front office and in the back office. Can you give an example of some very
Right.
interesting transformations? Let's say one in the front office, one in the back office that really make a difference to your organization and to your customers.
Uh, You're absolutely right. A lot of people will not be able to necessarily figure out that digital bank can be in the back office and the front office.
Yes.
And a lot of people are not able to see that. And sometimes people say, what is a digital bank? Because fundamentally, internet banking is digital, mobile banking is digital.
Right.
And this has been there for the last, mobile banking has been there for at least 5, 7, 8 years, and internet banking has been there for at least 15 years, so 18 years.
Hmm.
So now, but that's the key difference. Now, let me say, back office, a lot of the stuff was digitized, but it was not automated. It was still
Okay.
manual. So I would call the digitization of the back office in a category called automation, where one
Okay.
system talks to another, and you are not doing a lot of data entry. You are not pulling down, information in a lot of multiple subsystems or Excels or other kind of things, and manually processing it to get to an output. So the
Right.
whole a good smart bank of today is is digitized in the back end to automate itself. Can you? I'll give
Okay.
you an example. And you said you give an example of the back office automation. We create our profit and loss statement of the bank on the first of the month. So pretty much
Okay.
by 5 p.m. on the first, even it's Sunday or it's a working day, the profit and loss statement is fully ready. Okay.
Great.
Now the reason it is fully ready is because elements of the systems are all automated to the extent that the information gets generated and processed with very minimal manual intervention to look at the numbers first before you sort of say go ahead and proceed and sort of populate the tables wherever you wanted to populate it. But
Hmm.
so this is a perfect example where it's backend digitization slash automation, because if a bank can generate a profit and loss statement, before the end of day on the first, then what happens is almost everything has to be automated. So the
Correct.
backend automation is all digitization, all about automation, tools talking to each other, and bots running. I'll give you an example of a good digitization slash automation. we do a lot of things where we have to recon data that we get from on payments from NPCI, be it on our debit cards, be it on NEFT, be it on RTGS, a lot of transactions which get conflicted or failed in the process, and then you're not sure whether the transaction was completely legal or not legal. So every 4 hours, 6 hours, there are files given to the bank as a normal process saying, look at these 20, 30 transactions and recertify whether they were successful, they were failure, and depending upon the status, you either need to get back the money or refund the money, depending on where the transaction came from. So the
Right.
bank has to run a process which is a regular process every 5, 6 hours to look at transactions which are we can call in the gray zone, which didn't sort of complete properly in all the systems, our bank, the central NPCI servers, and the other bank. And therefore, there is a
Right.
potential risk on failures on those transactions. There
Right.
is a recertification required. Now, typically banks will take the file, download them from the servers, from the NPCI, and do a manual check on those in some semi-automated manner on your own systems.
Mm-hmm.
Now, banks like ourselves, and I'm sure some of the other banks also, have reached a degree of automation where we put a bot. A bot downloads the file. The
Okay.
bot goes and checks the transactions where it needs to check them transaction by transaction. And basis what it finds, it passes the entries for whatever it needs to be
Excellent.
done. So now every 6 hours the bot is doing that activity every single day because all these transactions happen 24/7, and all through the year. Now this is a perfect example of digitization slash automation in the backend.
Back end. Fair enough.
Now, if I give you examples of digitization of front end,
Uh-huh.
actually the examples in the front end are infinite. Now that's where the whole innovation space is coming in. Because
Mm-hmm.
beyond a point, the customers don't really care how you do things in the back end. It is for your
Correct.
own simplicity, it's for your own comfort, it's to make it error free that you have automated backends. But a
Mm-hmm.
customer typically will or should never see the difference whether the backend is fully automated or partly automated. And if
It's
you
a
see,
black
most
box
of the
for him.
banks should be at a point where all these things happen,
Correct.
but they happen, but they don't necessarily happen efficiently, but they still happen. What the
Mm-hmm.
customer experiences the front end, and when you digitize the front end, you really create customer delight. So I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Like our bank opens an account for a customer in the field in 15 minutes, plain 15 minutes. And we do it for almost all our customers.
Mm-hmm.
And in this 15 minutes, we do regular, again, iris based, Aadhaar based KYCs and do the necessary entries. The information goes to our servers and the account gets opened. And we hand over a checkbook and a debit card to the customer. And after 15 minutes, in the end of 15 minutes, the customer can download the mobile banking and activate that, can
Okay.
activate the internet banking, and actually transfer money into the bank account and make it a fully functioning bank account, in 15 minutes.
That's
Now,
an
this is
achievement.
only possible because you have done digital integration of it's not just a one
Right.
thing. You have to digitize and integrate through various elements in the banking, the core systems of all these things. They're all tightly coupled together. So this
Mm-hmm.
is one example of 15-minute digital account opening process. So similarly, there are lots of small things that we have developed on our tools. There are lots of examples, not to take more time, but
Mm-hmm.
so the future, if we call digital banking, the future of digital banking is all about customer facing applications. And it's not about just mobile banking. Mobile banking is a way of servicing customers. It has a lot of digital tools, does a lot of things. But when the customer is especially being onboarded onto the bank, when the
Mm-hmm.
customer comes and says, do an NEFT for me, or in the branch, when a customer comes and says, add a nominee in the branch, can you give me an FD in the branch? Now, when
Mm-hmm.
a customer comes with a unique request to the branch, it is not self-serviced. Now, how does the bank handle that? Does it go to its core banking system? Does it go to some help desk and put a request there? Or does the bank use a very efficient digital tool which triggers all the right things and almost instantaneously gets them done? Is what is called a digital bank. And we have
Okay.
achieved lots and lots of elements of success in that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thanks for those examples. If you get down to the current scenario because of the coronavirus and the lockdown, that has affected business a lot. And Government has announced a lot of measures for all kinds of organizations and individuals. But as a bank, what of among your customer segments could be the most affected? And is there anything you're doing to help them out in a meaningful way apart from whatever the government is doing and the regulator is doing? What initiatives is the bank itself taking to help its existing customers? And let's talk about those that are most likely to be affected. Because everyone is going to be affected, but the ones who are the worst affected is, let's talk about those.
As you all know, the bank is an essential service,
Yes.
and sometimes obviously it is not as essential in the current crisis as our doctors, as our administrative police
Hmm.
workforce, and a lot of administrative support. Even I would say even the essential food services are higher than any of these things. But when you look at the hierarchy, uh, if there is any disruption in the financial system where a customer feels they're not able to withdraw their money, or their debit cards don't work, or their instruments don't work,
Hmm.
all the payment channels don't work, clearly it'll create a sense of panic. So it's one element of a
Okay.
service that as bankers we have to do what we have to do to make sure that the customers do not suffer any outage in this
Okay.
crisis.
Agreed.
Now, so in that context, the first and foremost, the bank's overriding responsibility has been, and we have fairly delivered well on that, is that due to no issue, okay,
Hmm.
we should have any of our services going on. Okay,
Okay.
we should be up and running 24/7, just the way we were. So we have to take care of our customers before we worry about acquiring new customers in this phase or
Hmm.
adding more business. We have a responsibility of our customers. Today we have 2.5 million customers, and about
Okay.
2.2 to 2.3 million accounts in this bank.
Hmm.
And and those money, those accounts are transacting accounts. There is a direct benefit transfer being done by the government into those accounts because there are a lot of financial inclusion accounts. Now these accounts are have a debit card which has been issued to the customer. They have all kinds of UPI channels where customer transactions are 30 to 40,000 transactions, 50,000 transactions we see on our accounts just by
Hmm.
UPI transactions on a daily basis. Now
Okay.
the basic thing that we have tried to ensure is that at no point there is outage in any of our payment channels that our customers experience, or our internet banking and mobile banking channel. So the customer's piece that my money is safe and I can withdraw it, and any channel, every channel that the bank has works should work. The other necessary elements are that we have a branch and ATM network. So we
Hmm.
have ensured that our ATMs are constantly, there is uptime in the ATMs, and two, there's no cash outage in the ATMs. Typically, a
Okay.
lot of machines in crisis suffer from cash outage. Uh,
Exactly.
we have been fairly efficient again with automated tools. We get alerts when the cash levels are running low, and our teams will quickly sort of take care of those ATMs, including if
Yes.
the ATMs are misbehaving, they're not sort of responding. We'll get
Hmm.
the error logs created instantaneously, and we'll get the alerts, and we'll work on them. So our ATM network has to be kept up and running. The last element is that even when the world has a fear of the COVID virus, and there is lockdown, but we have to ensure that at least a couple of our employees open the branches and are available in the branches, because a lot of
Okay.
people are not able to use digital channels. They may just walk in and seek cash, and we should have the shutters of our bank branches up, and for all, and that's what we have done. So all through this phase, we have sort of made sure that our branches are open,
Okay.
and we have achieved some 95% success on that, because
Hmm.
if there is a genuinely an area where there is a significant concern, then even the local administration would not allow our branches to open, and anyway the customers can't come to the branch. But with
Right.
except for those constraints, we have managed to do that. Now this is an element of customer servicing. Now,
Hmm.
other than that, there are always customers who want to do new business, and what we have seen in this phase of very strong lockdown, a lot of customers have transferred money into their accounts, and wanted some help to create deposits. And we have seen deposits actually surge in the lockdown phase,
Okay.
because of various probably environmental elements. We have made sure that we are able to service those customers who are wanting to get their deposits created. So even if it results in a new customer acquisition, we are doing that. And I must say, when you talked about digital examples, and there's one digital example that I missed, we have an online account opening process, just like some of the big banks. But for a small finance bank, we are one of the larger accounts that we create out of that. In the month of March, we have added 45,000 new customers by just sitting at home, where
Oh,
people through their laptops have opened accounts in our bank, and they are fully functional accounts up to a certain value.
okay.
So keeping that channel running and servicing those customers to open new accounts has been a phenomenal service even in this down phase. So lots of examples. Our objective is
Okay.
the bank should be near BAU. We are loan custom. We are not being able to give loans in this phase. We don't,
Hmm.
but now that the lockdown has sort of eased most of the essential and non-essential services, we are trying to even normalize that. So other than giving loans and collecting EMIs from our customers, I think the bank has been almost 90% normalcy even in this phase.
It's amazing that in such a tough situation, an organization can actually not have an excuse and continue, not take an excuse, not give an excuse, and keep doing business 90% normal. That's quite an achievement, actually, because it's very easy to give an excuse in a crisis, unexpected crisis like this. So, yeah, kudos to you and your team. Was a lot of the burden coming on the IT team because of this lockdown? How big is your IT team? Just curious.
We would have about 50 to 70 people in the IT team, and we have about 100 people in our digital team, the team which
Okay.
focuses on the digital solution. The IT team focuses more on systems uptime and their enhancements and the
Hmm.
whole system that are being used, including the hardware and the softwares. Well, the
Hmm.
digital team brings in those digital interfaces, which also involve software and hardware, but primarily they are customized for digital banking. So between them, we would have about 150 to 200 people, a large team. See, I would say that keeping the bank running in the COVID-19 was not the biggest challenge. Actually, the bigger challenge that this
Okay.
team sort of worked upon, it was 25% of the job. The 75% that we did was actually, Manoj, was to continue to revolutionize the bank in this phase. See, because in
Oh.
some sense we are not doing other things, our energy
Ah.
went to that. We realized that when we come out of COVID-19 lockdown phase, our front end teams and customers will need newer ways of doing things. They'll need
Mm-hmm.
newer solutions. And we knew that what are changes and difficulties the difficulties the situation will sort of bring on the table. And therefore we had the ideas of saying this is where we want to go to before the lockdown opens. So what we have actually done is accelerated development of products, and what you would normally take about 4 or 5 months to deliver
Mm.
of those products, we've accelerated them in this last 2 months and brought them out. So when the lockdown opens up, our field teams are able to go back to the customers. The
Oh.
product proposition to the customer is significantly refreshed. And that load of bringing typically a 4 months work into 2 months has been, and actually more work because of the changes that are required because of all the new regulation which are coming in. So there are some changes to be done due to that also. So that workload has been very heavy. It is not just BAU supporting up and running.
Okay.
It is the dramatic
Okay.
change that you will in this.
So, what is it that you and your, let's say, senior management team are doing, business managers, functional managers, to keep the spirits high, to keep people motivated in these kind of uncertain times? So, the human angle, the non-digital aspect of it,
Sure.
the carbon-based
Sure.
angle.
So I'll answer this question in two or three parts. Uh,
Hmm.
I have in my career, gone through various elements of crisis, and I was a financial services person in a global MNC firm in 2008 when we had the GFC crisis, and we would have our own set of what I call cycles in businesses even earlier.
Hmm.
Although COVID-19 is the biggest crisis that we've experienced in terms of our life, but still
Mm-hmm.
crises have been there for us to learn from earlier. And as you know, uh, the biggest thing that these crises do is create uncertainty in people's mind. There's uncertain, and COVID-19 is creating even more uncertainty in people's mind. And I'm talking the health aspect separately. I'm talking first. Let me talk about the business and career and profession. So
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of fears that get crept in. in terms of what are the likely outcomes, during the crisis or after the crisis. And and as COVID-19 is showing us the viciousness of this crisis and the amount of business impact it is creating, and therefore the amount of, in the past we used to worry a little about job losses. Now the fear
Mm.
of job losses, salary cuts,
Yes.
is so much high. So therefore there is a huge stress, I would say, in the
Mm.
larger ecosystem, not just ourselves, saying what is the
Okay.
likely outcomes to professionals, self-employed people, in terms of their income, and how will they sort of survive beyond this crisis. So in some sense, obviously every crisis will have, areas where it impact far greater, and there'll be areas where it will impact it far less. And I must say that although the banking system will have its some share of impact, but because of the nature of business that we do, the financial inclusion business, our business is 95% rural customers. So
Mm.
the bank was at a very strong profitability performance in FY20. We had generated a very good, amount of profits, great
Okay.
ROE returns to our shareholders. So given the balance sheet and the financial strength, uh, so the first comfort that we given to our internal customers is, look, the bank is in a financially strong position.
Okay.
We do not have, any need for reducing jobs.
Mm.
uh, we have paid salaries on time for the month of March. We have paid salaries ahead of, in the, not even on the
Hey.
31st of March, we paid them 5 days early. In April, we've done the same thing. So fundamentally, the first comfort that you're given to everybody is that we are not in a situation, thanks to the business model, thanks to a lot of good
Mm.
factors, thanks to elements of luck, how this crisis has played out, and it's more urban than rural where our business is focused. But thanks to all those variables, the first comfort is that we are in a position where we can hopefully handle this crisis without any professional
Okay.
impact to any one of us. The second thing that we need to emphasize as any crisis is, it's all about communications. That
Mm-hmm.
you need to communicate more. You may have some good news, but you may have bad news, but fundamentally communicate more. And the my own communication, like I had just done a morning, we do a every 2 week top 500 people of the bank, do a good
Okay.
communication. So we just finished that before I'm just got into this session with you. So
Mm-hmm.
it has been all about communication. And luckily for us, versus any other crisis where we used to be on the phone or emails, and emails were read or not read, today the technology has come to a real help, and we have all learned that
Okay.
today the technology can just help bring people together and show our faces, because leadership team has to show faces.
Ah.
You have to be seen, um, not only heard, but you have to be seen. So what you have done is, because of thanks to technology, now we are able to be, show our faces and communicate much more clearly with a lot more conviction. So
Mm.
communication has been a very high element. The third thing that we've done is that we have said, look, this is a real medical scare. We don't
Mm-hmm.
know how this is going to play out. We don't want anyone to fall sick. So we have enforced strong lockdown. Okay. And we have said, we don't need to work. Like I told you, branches only had 1 or 2 people because they were essential services. Normally, a branch has about 15 employees
Mm-hmm.
out there. But in our case, we said we only 1 or 2 for essential service.
Okay.
Everybody's work from home, and
Okay.
so we have taken additional care to sort of ensure, and we constantly are now communicating. The app, the government app is absolutely is essential. Then you have all these tools on sanitization, mask, everything absolutely essential. Social
Mm-hmm.
distance. So we are reinforcing all that. So I think
Okay.
the three themes are: the banks is doing well, generally communicate the health of the bank, so they don't have anything to fear. Communicate, very extensively on their day-to-day goals, so that they understand what they have to do, and they don't get paranoid about lack of communication and their own fears take over.
Mm-hmm.
The third thing is, be very careful and manage the health of all the team members. So I must say, our team members, have navigated much better, and
Okay.
we are feeling a lot more comfortable at this point of time than what we were feeling when the whole lockdown started.